Hi everybody, I'm Bill Cloud and welcome to On This Day. Today is the 26th day of the month Adar, and it was on this day in the year 1940 that the Nazis issued an order that barred Jewish physicians from treating Aryans and from Aryan physicians from treating Jews, thus accentuating the separation between the two peoples. Of course, the Nazis' provocation for this was their hatred for the Jews and the belief that somehow or another the Jewish race was inferior to their own. In a similar way, we see this hate-inspired separation taking place in Egypt during the time just before the Exodus, after the Pharaoh who knew not Joseph came to power. He saw the Hebrews as a threat, and so he began to implement policies that were designed to isolate the Hebrews. Now, consider this. In neither of these situations do we feel that the Creator was taken by surprise, and so then we conclude that He allowed it to happen. And if He allowed it to happen, what would be the purpose? It occurs to me that since from the beginning of time, the Creator has always called upon His people to be a holy or set-apart people, when His people don't respond to that call, He allows certain things to occur. In other words, when His people are content and intent on mixing and mingling with the nations, as they did in Egypt, for instance, inevitably you're going to see an oppressor who will come to power and who then forces God's people to separate from the nations. But when this oppressor arises, he doesn't separate God's people in order that God's people may live, but just to make it easier to kill them. And this, of course, follows the methodology of the adversary who works systematically to destroy God's people. Messiah told us this in John 10. The thief does not come except to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And the reason we point this out is because, in the words of the Messiah, His effort to destroy God's people is a process. And so we make it easier for Him to destroy us and to kill us and to steal from us when we resist the call to be set apart per God's instructions. Those who believe that these are the last days should consider that the message of the Creator has not changed. In other words, He still calls upon His people to come out from among them and to be a separate people in order that we may live. And so could it be that those of His people who are unwilling to comply with this challenge might find themselves once again being forced to be a separate people, but being forced by the one who has evil intentions? We're not talking about the Creator, of course, now. We're talking about tyrants and oppressors. And so just consider what's going on in the world, what's going on in our own country. It seems to me that systematically we are being forced to segregate from the rest of the world and to separate from the mainstream by those in power. And that's a frightening, a potentially frightening replay of the past as far as I'm concerned. And so then, considering all this, I'll leave you with the words of our Father as He presented them to our ancestors centuries ago. He said, "I call heaven and earth as witness today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live, that you may love the Lord your God, that you may obey His voice, and that you may cling to Him, for He is your life and the length of your days." And so with that, let me just encourage you to today choose life, to be set apart, and be blessed. Until tomorrow, shalom.